I want to start by talking about signatures, because most of what we cover in this module is going to be about how we actually circumvent defenses implemented by signatures. And what we really mean by signatures is defining a pattern of what an attack looks like. So think back to all the attacks we've mounted through this course. There are some pretty common patterns, and certainly those defending web apps understand what many of those patterns look like. Now this may include very specific attack sequences, and we'll look at some of those in a moment, or it could come down to a more generic pattern match. There's really no one single way of implementing this, but the important thing to understand for this module is that the sort of signatures we're going to look at evading are the ones that are normally pretty explicit about what they know to be bad. Now this is that blacklist approach, and if you recall from the last module, when I talked about validating untrusted data from the user, I was really explicit about using whitelists and not blacklists. So in this module, we're going to see the problem that occurs when an application is just looking for certain patterns that it thinks are bad, because we're going to create some patterns that the app probably doesn't know are bad. Now these signatures are often implemented at various points of the application. So as we saw in the last module, they may be implemented when the website is actually validating the untrusted data. So that's built by the developer and it's in code. But as we also saw in the last module, there could be something like an IDS or a WAF in front of the website, a dedicated security appliance. So it can be something much more sophisticated and upstream of the web app. Now when you do get more sophisticated, some of these appliances can look at more advanced aspects of the traffic attributes. So what if it sees certain patterns from a certain IP? Or what if it sees them across IP addresses? What does good traffic look like? And conversely, what does bad traffic look like? And that's about much more than just looking at a single request in isolation. So although we're going to look at some great evasion techniques in this module, just be conscious that sophisticated devices go well beyond just looking at the sort of patterns we're going to see here. But with that said, let's move on and start looking at some basic evasion techniques.